Previously on an Erik figure review.
But for real, how can I talk about Pyra and not talk about Mythra? Mythra, oh no. Hold up there, Erik. What? Who cares? It doesn't matter. It'll be a longer video. We'll just talk about Mythra too. She's so cool. I gotta talk about both of them. What, and make the video like 30 or 40 minutes? I don't think so. What do you mean? This isn't like a TV show. You can't do something like this to me. This episode is over. We're gonna save Mythra for another day. Mythra!
Now, the thrilling conclusion.
Hello everyone, my name is Erik Mullins, and today we're going to be checking out Goodsmile Company's Xenoblade 2 Mythra. Oh Mythra, you're so gorgeous! For real, I feel like when you play Xenoblade 2, you like Mythra, but Pyra really shines in that game, and I wouldn't say it's until you play Torna where you have no choice but to really adore this character. Although my favorite's always going to be Cosmos. But that's personal preference. Get out of here, Cosmos. Starting with the base, it is a weird, wonky, light yellow, transparent base that says Xenoblade 2 on it. It's incredibly similar to Pyra's base because they kind of plug into one another. Is that fun and cool? Kinda. I like the idea that they go next to one another. I just don't like the look of this base. I would have made it half an X so that when it plugs in the other one, it makes a full X. I'd mentioned this in my Pyra video. If you're just tuning in, this is part 2, where part 1 is all about Pyra. Be sure to check it out. I put the link in the description below. Moving up from this base, we have this giant clunky piece of transparent plastic with this thick metal bar going through it to help her stop from leaning. Of course it's not enough, so they give you this peg that has a little base on its own. This shouldn't be here. This little base should actually plug into the actual base, kind of like Pyra's. I would have liked it maybe if it was in metal, so that way it matched up with Pyra. Or they could have at least changed Pyra's so that it was similar to this. Regardless, I don't know how I feel about this thing. And just this mild piece of plastic allows her to not lean too heavily over the years, so it keeps your statue safe. This is the price you pay for getting such an extravagantly dynamic pose. Now we're going to move up to her shoes where everything feels so pointy and sharp. The decoupage here is really cool with the whites and the golds and the little triangles. I love this tiny little hook metal golden piece that goes in front of her ankles. This is really very cool boots. Then we go up her legs, which look incredibly soft, have some nice shading and highlighting to them using slightly different colorations of beige. And it kind of looks sharp as well. It's really not as smooth as Pyra's. Her calves actually look pretty sharp and muscular. Her right leg is sporting this awesome band that has this super cool like gem on it that's the same color green aqua as you see on Pyra, so it really matches the two figures up together nicely. The cute little triangle design kind of makes me think of the tiara that Pyra's wearing. It's got this lovely, cute little gold design with spikes and arrows, or boomerangs if you want to call them that, all over the place. Her left leg does not have this. Moving up from there, she has a short skirt, but under that, she actually has underwear that they carefully put tons of detail and design into. It's really wild. I'm talking like different colors and sections that match up with the rest of her clothing. She has that little logo on the top front of them. It's really insane how many details she has on her undergarment, though not surprising considering her target audience. The actual clothing to come out looking like a skirt is beautiful. I love this concept. The design is just so nice. It's pleated, it has these cute little details at the end of every single pleat, and as you get up to her hips, she has these awesome, giant, transparent green emeraldy looking things with a gold boomerang design around them. Kind of makes me think of the shoes of Pyra. It's so science fiction, anime, future robot looking. Along with the little clips and belts to match up with Pyra's clips and belts, there are actually little designs and stretches, which is gorgeous. The back of her skirt has this same little triangular boomerang design as Pyra, then it cuts into these cute little coattails, which look really nice, and have a different design and motif on the top than they do underneath. So much detail. Her back actually looks really cute. It's so small, and it goes into this little backpack thingy, which I think the design just looks really nice, which connects up into a collar around her neck. Meanwhile, the front of her skirt goes up and covers the entire stomach, leading all the way up into her chest with these same pleats. We have a couple of gorgeous designs and layering between different types of textures and robotic pieces that all kind of match up with her overall look and aesthetic to begin with. These beautiful greenish glowing painted lines, just like in the game. where we then get to her chest where she has this cute little cutout window. She has the Zohar on top. Again, that Zohar is kind of seen throughout most of the Xeno series. And unlike Pyra, it's actually got some symmetry to it. I personally really like the asymmetry of Pyra's chest design. I think it's really nice. But this is really cute too. I find both designs are so different, yet so many things match up, and they're just really beautiful in their own regard. Then we get up to her neck piece here, where we see a bit of her collarbone. I feel like I would have liked it to be a little more pronounced personally, but it still looks nice. She has like a little neck collar piece too, which is cool. Then we go into her shoulders, which are sleeveless, which then go into these really nice sleeved up to her shoulder arm gloves. More transparent looking emerald pieces with gold boomerang stuff all around it. It's really cool. It's just so sharp and everything cuts so nicely and it's beveled inward. They really put in a lot of detail in every little facet of this character. One thing I should have mentioned earlier, but most of the whites you see on her are pearlized, so they really pop and shine and they kind of give you that robotic synthetic feeling. Her hand has these cute little gauntlets around the wrist. The gloves themselves are black underneath while white on the top, and I think this is cool. It almost makes me think like the black part might have more grip so she can hold on to things better. The whole thing just feels white knight to me. And then we get into her sword. This sword looks epic. It's so big, it's so beautiful. It has the cute hilt at the end with all these designs and transparency. It has this beautiful design on the pommel as we go up to these cute little designs on the handle itself, going into the actual blade guards, which come out. It almost feels like this could be some sort of spaceship from one of those games like Ikaruga or something like that. We have a beautiful Zohar here as well with the same transparent green that you see on her chest. And then the whole blade kind of comes out and it looks like it's opened. So when closed, it's really not that big, but when it opens, the whole energy piece comes out, and then you have this thing that, for real, I'm getting major Gundam vibes from this. So many of these little things I've been calling boomerangs and edges popping out left and right, they have such a Gundam vibe. And as a lover of the franchise of Gundam, I approve. There's a gradient in the transparency of the energy coming out of the sword that is just so beautiful and so well done. Now we get into her face, where she has this expression that kind of gives off a bit of a playful, yet combat-ready, fun vibe to it. It's something I wouldn't have really expected for her considering her personality earlier on in the game, but as you go on and you get to know her a little bit more, she really kind of lives for the combat, so it matches up well with her. It's super round as well, and I freaking love my round faces. She has this gorgeous tiara that has quite a bit of little details to it as well, though I must say that when it goes into her hair, one side actually looks like it goes in, where the other side kind of bevels out a little too much. It gives her that cute little Gundam V at the top with a beautiful transparent emerald plastic. And now let's talk about her hair. Her hair is so impressive. You can see the parts at the top that are sectioned and cut off, which is a little frustrating. But the amount of highlights and shading and all of these strands flowing everywhere, it looks so nice. And one thing I will say is the section off pieces, they are really smoothed out, but it is a little annoying that they couldn't have added more lines going into it. It would have hid them completely had they just done this. But I guess their argument is you don't really look at the statue from that angle that often, which is again true. But I still personally find it a little off-putting, so I definitely had to mention it. On her release, she was about 18,000 yen. The same price as Pyra. And I honestly think she's definitely worth it. She looks gorgeous. I love the character. But is it worth getting her on her own? That I don't know. I feel like I could have gone with Pyra on her own and I would have been happy. Mythra, I feel like I would have needed Pyra. Despite thinking she's incredible and loving her all throughout Torna, I just love the design of her a bit more personally. So it's really, on you. If you think, my god, Mythra, I love her so much, I'd say definitely worth it. She looks really great. Plus, how many Mythra statues are they lining up to make? Xenoblade 2's been out for quite a while, and I want so many figures from that. Where the hell is my gosh darn Poppy? I want freaking Poppy, and I want all their forms. I want them to plug together to create like a super statue with 3 Poppies. Although, if I could just choose one, obviously. Unlike Pyra's sword, I must mention that Mythra's sword is actually able to move around a bit in her hand. So you can position it a little differently depending. I don't know if I like that. I personally like the idea that it's stable in there and it's not moving around, so I don't have to find the right position so that it's not hitting this person's hair. It should have just been done properly and put in there just once. But hey, who knows? Some of you might actually want to remove the sword and just have that, like, positioned somewhere, which you could do if ever you're rotating statues, maybe you don't have any space, and you wanted to keep that out, while not displaying the rest of the figure. Putting them together, they do look really nice. They take up quite a bit of space, and again, I can't help but mention, what a missed opportunity to not make the base look like the X from Xenoblade. Like, come on. These two things not matching up, especially since these are both reruns, they had the chance and the time to go over it and be like, yeah, okay, let's mildly change this. They just chose not to. So there's all these little things that I can mention here and there. But ultimately, if you're a massive fan of the franchise, you're gonna pick them both up. They're incredible. They look so beautiful. And the few little cons that I said aren't enough to outweigh the amount of pros that you get from them. So if you like this video just a little bit, it doesn't cost nothing to hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you can be notified of future episodes. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome rest of your day. Bye! Now we get into her face, where she has this expression that kind of gives off a bit of a playful, yet... combat-ready, fun vibe to it.